Hey guys, welcome back. So now we're getting back into the death of Doctor Strange, to where with this one, it's almost like we see a couple of parallels with what we discover about the three mothers that almost makes it seem like a bit of a hint towards where this is going. So let's get into it. But first, if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to catch the spills every week. And don't forget to hit that bell up top so we can squat up in the comments for the first hour. Alright, so jumping back in after the Avengers had just gotten destroyed by the three mothers, and it's always one of those things to where it's kind of like, okay, someone new and powerful shows up and they either beat the mess out of the heroes, or they deal heavy damage on someone super powerful, or just outright kill them, to where in recent years Galactus has kind of been that benchmark, and it's kind of like, okay, well we get it, you're new, you're powerful, okay, and this brawl was like that kind of introduction for the three mothers, of whom at this point their background is still much of a huge mystery. And all we really know is that they travel across dimensions to feed their child, and at this point with Doctor Strange dead, with him being the current Sorcerer Supreme, the world has lost its protective barrier, which has brought a number of cross-dimensional villains to Earth because they were fleeing from the three mothers, and doing this in hopes that the heroes of Earth would protect them. But like we'd seen, round one didn't go well for the heroes, and afterwards we then find that the heroes have made their way to Avengers Mountain to more or less regroup and figure out the next steps. But with going to Avengers Mountain, we first start off with the autopsy of Doctor Strange, which is being led by the younger, time-displaced Doctor Strange, who once again is like the slither of Doctor Strange's soul, who he had hidden many years back when he had removed and put away 1 week of his life, so that at the time of his actual death, a version of him could return so that he can make sure things were in order. But with him doing this autopsy, he's also accompanied by Jane Foster, and I can only imagine how weird it must be not only to just do your own autopsy, but just be looking over your body just laying there, naked. And at that point, I would have just looked at Jane and been like, okay, first of all, we at the North Pole, so let me explain a couple things first. And I'm not even sure if that's a thing in post-mortem. But anyway, it's here where we see the two of them examine his present day body in order to see if they can find any abnormalities in his cause of death, other than the obvious signs. But also at the Avengers Mountain, it's here where we then go to Clea, who's telling the other Avengers and Wong everything she knows about the three mothers, which even still isn't like an entire backstory. Because for Clea, much like many of the others who we had seen flee to Earth, she only knows of the three mothers' reputation, as far as destruction and them hunting for magic in order to feed their child. But from what she shares here with the Avengers, she lets them know that the three mothers have come from beyond the outer planes, and that these three warrior queens from unknown lands, they've been carving their way across dimensions, and so far no one has been able to stand against them. No king or queen, warlord or warlock, entire armies have been laid to waste, and all for the need to feed their child. And that child Clea describes as the apex predator of the magical food chain, to where of course its most favorite dish will be powerful warlords or powerful magic users like Clea herself. But aside from this brief description, everything else is pretty much just left to speculation, cause she lets them know that some think that this isn't even a creature at all, but instead there's the idea that what her and others have witnessed is just a physical manifestation of what they can see in a physical space, almost as if there's more than what meets the eye with this Peregrine child. And Clea also speculates, like, since no one knows the full story of the three mothers, or even how they came about to be the ones who hunt down the people who wield magic in order to feed them to this child, but she imagines that whatever their story was, that it had to be a tragic one, which could also be a bit of foreshadowing to either one or all of the three mothers turning on the child later at some point. But then it's also here where Doctor Strange and Jane Foster get back from the autopsy, and Strange lets the heroes know mostly what we assumed from before, as far as his death being more than just a malicious attack, as far as the hands being removed from his body, which isn't needed to be done to kill someone. But through the course of the autopsy, he had also come to discover that this was a form of ritual, which I think was kind of obvious before, but then when Doctor Strange goes on to explain that with doing this, whoever killed him had effectively stolen his soul, which is the part that creates the other hitch, because without his soul truly passing on, there can be no new Sorcerer Supreme. And again, as far as the different villains who have come from different dimensions, in order to avoid their deaths, they're just hiding on Earth because the world's heroes, and not just the Avengers, but the X-Men, everyone, collectively they have fought off a number of threats that have tried to take the Earth before. Whether it was Galactus, Dormammu, Annihilus, the heroes of Earth have defended it time and time again, and that's why the villains have re-established their home here. And when classic Doctor Strange points this out, he kind of tells the Avengers, like, with that said, I'm gonna leave it to you guys. Because as of now, he knows the why of his death, but he still has to figure out the how and who. And when Strange leaves with Wong and Clea, Tony pretty much just thanks him for leaving them with a full plate. But then it's after this when we go back to the Sanctum Sanctorum, and Clea, she releases this spirit that she refers to as Flibbertigibbet to search the world at the speed of thought to find items that were stolen from the late Doctor Strange and report back so they know where to find them. But while Flibbertigibbet is out looking for the doohickeys, Clea and classic Doctor Strange kind of have this moment to where at first there's like this awkward silence, and then Clea brings up about how the recent Doctor Strange had made her forget her memories of him after they had overcome so much and got back to the place to where there was a chance that they could be together. But of course at the time, with the more recent Doctor Strange taking the high road, which really and truly he kind of didn't have much of a choice, because at the time with the more recent Doctor Strange, who is now the late Doctor Strange, had got Mephisto's help with rebuilding the universe after shattering Galactus and all of reality with him. But this had then landed Doctor Strange in Mephisto's debt because of the good doctor's choice of words. And after the universe was all good and well, Mephisto had immediately called for Doctor Strange to honor his commitment. And it was really messed up because Mephisto had hit Doctor Strange with the, okay, you already know what I'm gonna ask. Like, I think Mephisto has a secret weakness for seeing other people booed up. Like, he just can't take it, can't have it. But it's here for Clea where she understands that the late Doctor Strange, like, he had to do what he had to do. But also when that Doctor Strange was killed, Mephisto had then released all those memories back to Clea all at one time, only for her to land into a greater suffering with her seeing and realizing that he was actually dead. And then on top of that, with her seeing this Doctor Strange, the classic Doctor Strange, who's very much the version of Steven who she had first met, and for Clea with seeing this younger Doctor Strange, right away it just brings back the memories and the feelings to a time when she was slowly realizing how the two of their souls had fit together. But it's also like that doesn't matter because this Doctor Strange hardly knows her. So for Clea, it's like an insult to injury on top of an insult to injury. But then it's here with classic Doctor Strange. Let me tell you about classic Doctor Strange. He then tells Clea that since he's come back and seen the pain of all his friends who he hasn't met yet grieving his death, which later was just topped with the global crisis which he has no idea on how to solve just yet, only then for that to be topped off with the fact that he only has days before he ceases to exist. But he then lets her know that the worst thing out of all of this is him learning that he lived to be a fool, because a man who had her heart and lost it, he could be called nothing else. And right there, she just lands one on him, cause Doctor Strange got game. But of course he stops this before it goes anywhere, because the Stephen Strange who Clea had fallen in love with, he has yet to be saved. But then it's here where Flibbertigibbet comes back from the worldwide search, and it's here where she tells them that she has found the Eye of Agamotto and the Cloak of Levitation, and they are both at Castle Mordo. And right away when they hear this, we just bust into this like split screen of two events taking place simultaneously, with Doctor Strange, Clea, and Wong making their way to Castle Mordo, but also the three mothers making their way to Kalamesh, the home of Dagoth the Dark One. And you can just tell like right away that in both cases that there's like this countdown to somebody getting their head whooped. You know what I'm saying? Because with classic Doctor Strange, he's calling out to Mordo, and at this point, he ain't even calling him Mordo or Baron Mordo anymore. But he's like, hey yo, Carl, like Carl, if you don't get your down here. And it's crazy because just the way that he's calling him out, it doubles perfectly with the three mothers going after Dagoth. Because when he calls out Carl, for just sticking to his old tricks by stealing power like Baron Mordo always has, unlike Doctor Strange who borrows power, there's a difference. But it's here where Doctor Strange calls out Mordo for borrowing power from Agamon, Tibero, Umar, and Dagoth after muling to Dormammu for Mordo to have the strength to face him. And as Doctor Strange, Wong, and Clea tear their way through here, Strange calls Mordo out like, man, you are an absolute coward, because it was these 4 magical signatures that Strange had found on his body throughout the course of his own autopsy. And with that discovery, on top of him finding out that the Eye of Agamotto and the Cloak of Levitation are here at Castle Mordo, everything's just pointing towards Mordo being the person who orchestrated Doctor Strange's death, since he knew it was something he could never do himself. And in the case of Dagoth, while we're seeing him getting abducted, this speech doubles as well for him because he serves Dormammu, and like we had talked about in the previous video, Dagoth has done his fair share of sacrifices in muling to Dormammu as well. But at this point, as we follow Dagoth, we come to find out for him that hasn't helped him too well, as we watch the 3 mothers offer Dagoth to their child, who, like we'd seen in Clea's explanation, this kid got way more head than he got body, with also a bit of a strange kind of beard thing going on too. But back at Castle Mordo, as Doctor Strange, Clea, and Wong approached Mordo's door, he's right on the other side clutching the cloak and the Eye of Agamotto, and at this point, from what it seems, he really wants to talk it out. But I kinda got this feeling that classic Doctor Strange, he said all that he's wanted to say. And so now real quick, I want to give a special shout out to all the patrons. Thank you guys for all of your support. And for anyone who's new here who wants more information on how to support the channel, I got a link below so you can go to patreon.com/dopespill. But that'll do it for this one, guys. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and we'll do it again on the next one. Alright, later.